And there we go, we're back in. Let's unpause and get the show on the road. So once again, Viper versus Vinchester, game number 4 now. This series is currently 2-1 to the Viper. And so far it's been the Vipers win, the Vinchesters win, and then the Vipers win once again, with game number 4 being yet another opportunity for Vinchester to get that elusive game from the Viper. Viper, of course, being so renowned for just being one of the best players in the world. And Vinchester did such a great job getting a single game from him. And we are back once again now with game number 4 on Arabia once more. But as usual, it seems like we don't have mirror sibs, which is exciting and fun to watch. So we've got over to the far right of the map this time. Vinchester playing in the purple as the Spanish, and over to the far west of the map in the yellow we've got the Viper playing as the Franks. So it's going to be a rematch of game number 2. Game number 2, by the way, if you guys remember, was the game that Vinchester actually won, meaning that now they are going to try and, well, I just guessing by Viper's competitive nature that he has asked to rematch this game in particular with the same civilizations. I do not believe for a second that they both randomed these civilizations. I believe that these civilizations were picked intentionally. So Vinchester, he knows he can beat the Viper with the Spanish, and Viper playing as the Franks once more in this situation. And I wonder how they're going to play it differently this time, or whether Vinchester will try the same strategy once again. You know, I think this is the Viper now wanting to prove that he is actually a better player and give himself this challenge once more to try and beat Vinchester on the settings that he previously lost. So I don't know what Viper's going to do differently. I think Viper is definitely going to want to stop Vinchester from getting a castle out early. He's going to want to stop him from making those conquistadors because, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for those conquistadors in that game, Vinchester would not have had such a huge upper hand. And I think Viper probably going to want to change tacts a little bit and perhaps try and either prevent a castle from going up or pressure Vinchester so much that he cannot take stone comfortably. Now, obviously, that is just pure speculation. I don't know if he will really try anything too different at all, but ultimately, we know that the Spanish army composition in the late game, if they have gold, is going to be far superior to that of the Franks. The Franks, they're throwing axemen, not up to any good in this matchup. They're cavalier, they're paladins, they're knights. I said that in a bit of a weird order, but anyway, those units that I just mentioned, they are going to be quite ineffective against massed up conquistadors, as long as those conquistadors have husbandry. And we saw that in that last game as well. And hey, Wallalo, R. Johnson 47 just subscribed. Thank you very much, R. Johnson. And the chat goes wild. Hype, hype, hype. Best new subscriber. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the Wallow Warlords. Oh man, you guys are so funny. Just so much spam in the chat. I love it. I actually encourage the spam. The spam is exciting. I don't know where you're getting 2 subs left from, Spectra. It's 2 subs until 99, and then it's 3 left until 100. But I don't know. Maybe we could do it this stream. If not, then you know, I don't mind. I never expect anything when I go into these streams. I'm just doing this because I love the game. I love casting the game. I love bringing these games to you guys, and everything else is just a bonus, I guess, at the end of the day. So back to this game, we'll have a look at the players' maps and see if that's really likely to influence their strategies or how they may play this one. So Vinchester's gold here is pretty exposed, actually. It's quite far from his TC. Well, it's not that far. I mean, it's in a reasonable distance. It's in a distance where he can get his villagers back and not die to any scouts, for instance. But he's not got an easy wall against this. You know, this left-hand side really open. There's no possible wall here unless he goes from this tree to this tree, and that's an insane amount of distance to palisade wall up. So Vinchester might struggle taking this gold. We might see a tower coming up here later on so that he can secure that stone and the gold as well. If he wants to go for a tower, then he will secure that gold stone and the gold, I guess, but he will be able to get that stone later for the castle, and obviously that he's probably going to want to go for that, considering how well it worked for him last time. Now, the front of his map, again, looking very open. As usual, it is Arabia, that's expected. And his second and third goal are also really far out on the front. So, I mean, Vinchester is going to have to take this gold here. He has no other choice. The question is, how will he defend it, and how will he ensure that he manages to take it? And I think maybe a tower. I don't know if he will wall. It would be a risky wall. He could, I guess, wall from here to here, and then wall in towards his TC. That could work, but then he would deny himself his own stone because he's walled it up. So we'll see how he decides to deal with that one. But let's take a look at the Viper's map now, as these guys both go up to the feudal age, or Viper goes up. Vinchester here struggling to get the food by the looks of things, or not. He's actually taking some stone. Nope, what's he doing? He can't make his mind up. Nope, he's gonna build a farm. Right. Okay, that's not a good sign. When you see someone like indecisive, that's a bad sign. That means that he's not really sure what he wants to do at the moment, and that's never an ideal situation to be in. So Viper's up to feudal on 21 pop, 68%. Vinchester's just clicked up, he's on 12%. And now he's walling himself up towards his TC. But I think Vinchester with a pretty bad start there. Probably not what he anticipated or wanted. So Viper's main goal, again, pretty far out to the front. No easy wall again for him here. Not that the Viper typically walls up with any amount of palisade here. And he's starting to do a little bit of a wall off at the front here with these houses. He's probably going to put a stable down right in this position. And he will start making some scouts from there, which is pretty much expected as the Franks. If they don't rush, they will do a scout rush. I guess archers into crossbow could be an option, but you're still going to want that stable for the castle age anyway, when you want those fantastic Frank knights. They are the best knights in the game, and they are really strong in the early castle age, thanks to the technically free bloodlines, but the free 20% extra HP, I should say, if I'm going to say it correctly, like I suppose I should. I think I should take more responsibility in saying things exactly right. Like, for instance, saying that the Byzantines have cheaper trash. Technically, that's wrong. And I should be starting to really up my game a little bit with those terminologies, because I should not be trying to mislead anyone in terms of the gameplay itself. So anyway. Stable out for Vinchester on the front there, and it's going to be scouts for him as well. Probably going to be queuing up a spearman pretty quickly when he realizes that the Viper already has three scouts on the map and a spearman coming over as well. Viper getting the upper hand on that scout cavalry there as well, and Vinchester running back towards that TC. Uh-oh. Vinchester not off to a great start, to be honest with you. That feudal time was pretty slow, but on the bright side, he does have more villagers out at the moment, I believe. In fact, I might be wrong. Let's quickly check that. Population, they were actually neck and neck on the villager count, but Vinchester did go up to the feudal age with more villagers. Now, the problem here for Vinchester is that, yeah, he's now on the defensive, and that's kind of not where he wants to be in this situation. Not when his gold is down here and inaccessible for the time being. Viper once again coming forwards with those aggressive spearmen, and it doesn't look like he's changing his feudal age strategy at all from the first game we saw. He is actually sticking with exactly the same strats as he has used already, coming forwards with those spears, continuing to make those scouts as well. And actually at the moment, Viper is on 6 scout cavalry, which is quite a lot. Usually in a scout rush, you'll see 4 scout cavalry, 3 additional to your starting one. That's the kind of standard number. The Mongols will sometimes go for 5 since they have that extra hunt bonus, and the Viper going for 5 as well. Sorry, 6 now. Considering that he is playing as the Franks here, he's still going to want to get a good castle time, but since he's playing so aggressive, since he's got Vinchester locked inside of his base, he is afforded the opportunity to take those deer right at the front of the map. And even though they're so far out from his town centre, these villagers sitting ducks at the moment, he is still able to take them comfortably and really boost his food count because of that. Now, wheelbarrow is just being completed. This is quite an early wheelbarrow for the Viper here. And the reason why he's doing this a little bit earlier is because he does want to make sure he gets that food count for the castle age as well. It's so crucial as the Franks that you reach the castle age in a good time. Interestingly enough though, he is actually doing a switch into archery ranges now. He is making that switch into archers, but just 3 villagers on gold. I imagine he will maybe send these 3 villagers that are taking the deer onto the gold as well, making that 6. And if he does archers from 1 archery range, then 6 villagers on gold is enough to keep archers coming out and then get you just enough gold to go up to the castle age as well. But we'll see where these villagers go. We'll see if he sends any more over there, or if he even makes a second range here. I'm starting to think that, given his resource count, a second range might not even be coming up here. But there's the 6 villagers now on the gold, sending the berry bush villagers over there instead. But no, we are going to see that second range coming out. So far then, Vinchester's been playing defensive. There's that tower I was talking about earlier on, building that on the hill there for an attack advantage on the low ground. I think that's a perfectly reasonable place for a tower to come up. And of course, Vinchester really wants to secure that stone for the castle age. Both of them thinking about the castle age, it's in the back of their mind. And Viper just doing town watch. And then he will click up. He should have the food if he drops these villagers at the TC. There's that town watch upgrade. And the one thing that Viper does do, I've noticed this in a lot of his games, he does actually do town watch quite early on. It's actually a really nice idea. Because it gives you that extra visibility, and on a map like Arabia where it's so open, giving you a little bit more of a warning, a little bit more time to react to enemy units coming in, and you can actually prevent a lot of damage to your economy. Viper there though, losing 1 villager on the wood line, and Vinchester losing 1 scout. Viper also losing a spear, so I'd say that was a good trade for Vinchester there. But Viper with a big advantage going up to the castle age. He is on 28%, and Vinchester is just doing wheelbarrow now, a little bit late. And that could also be part of the reason why he is slightly short on the food at the moment as he runs back with these scouts back to his base and sends those spearmen out at the front as a little bit of a greeting party. Is Viper going to react in time? Yes, he will. Look at that. Just so much army control. It's like he's got 6 pairs of eyes. He's just looking at everything all the time. And, you know, if you ever watch me play, which you probably, you're going to get to see me play again later on, you'll realize just how bad my army control is in comparison to someone like, either of these guys, both of them with great army control. My kind of strategy is make the units and send them in the general direction of the enemy. And then I focus so much on building eco and making sure my eco is right that my units often die, and it's because of things like that. I don't send them back in time. I'm not watching them enough. Whereas Viper and Vinchester, they've got their eye on everything at all times, making sure to avoid as many traps, pits, and snares as possible. Vinchester there does manage to pull off a little bit of a kill, getting one of these scouts from Viper, and Viper at the moment unable to get in. I was actually right about this wall-off though. This wall-off coming in between this tree line and this stone, bowing out slightly, I guess, so that he can still take the stone as well. But Vinchester, I've got to say, not looking too bad considering this wall off. And Viper though with the map control and now has that castle age upgrade as well. His archers at the back of the map coming in to prevent Vinchester from doing any damage to this wood line, which is exposed. And Vinchester going to be pushed away yet again. Viper will take down those spears pretty quickly, and those archers are now crossbowmen. Look at your archers. Now back to me. Now back to your archers. Your archers are now crossbows. And that's basically what the Viper just did. Upgrading those out of nowhere. Suddenly they get a new fancy hat and a new bow, and they can send them right across the map. Vinchester incredibly defensive now, losing a house on this front side, could potentially have a breach in his walls, and I'm a little bit concerned for Vinchester here. He's just hitting the castle age now, 39 population compared to the Vipers of 51. It's quite a considerable difference. And that house falling rapidly, causing Vinchester to wall up behind it. And so yeah, Vinchester's looking pretty dicey at the moment. Viper's got those crossbows masked up, but of course he's probably going to switch into some knights, I would assume. Though at the moment there's no military production at all as we switch between those archery ranges and stables. And I'm wondering what Vinchester's plan of attack is. He really wants to play the same game as last time, doesn't he? He really wants that castle. And he is going to defend until he gets it. Putting up another TC at the back. Going to take some extra... Pardon me. Going to take some extra stone at the back of the map. And putting up that castle now between his gold and his stone as well. So it's looking like this castle will go up. Not in a great position to protect his economy though, because Viper's coming in at the north. But Vinchester can start to get out some of those all-important conquistadors, but this is certainly not feeling like the same game as last time. It still, to me, feels like Vinchester's falling behind here. He's got a 20 population deficit. The Viper has 3 extra villagers on the map, and he's also now getting a university. Looks like he is going to be going for ballistics here, just to give his crossbows a little bit of an extra something. And you know what, actually? I think he's not going to make any knights at all. He might make a couple of knights if Vinchester decides to add in, if Vinchester starts to add in, I don't know, some mangonels or something, then he might make a couple of knights. But actually, this is the key difference here. This is where the Viper has changed his strategy from the last time. He's making the crossbows deliberately because he knows that if Vinchester goes for conquistadors, his crossbows can fight that. 7 range on the crossbow versus the 6 on the conquistador. They will kill the conquistadors if they are massed up. And the crossbows are nice and cheap compared to the conquistadors as well. So this is actually a real tactical change from the Viper here. And we're still not seeing a single knight from him. And we're just seeing those crossbows coming out. It makes a lot of sense. And I think this is where actually relying on the metagame and thinking, hey, the Franks have the best knights in the game. We have to make the knights because they're the best knights in the game. But then you completely forget that your opponent can just make conquistadors and kill you off. But now Viper's got ballistics. He's microing his butt off against these conquistadors, and he's gonna just sink all of these arrows into the conquistadors and probably manage to do some considerable damage where normally he would have died if those were knights. Those 4 conquistadors probably gonna get taken down. Depending on how accurate these conquistadors are. A little bit of RNG coming into play, but Viper's going to get it. By the looks of it, 1 arrow, and that crossbow will survive to see another day for just a few more minutes before another one comes along and blasts its face off even. So Vinchester at the moment, not a lot of space to build. He's only got 2 town centers, and his gold income is pretty small, with just 4 villagers taking gold right now, and those occasional conquistadors popping out. But like I say, those conquistadors not gonna be so viable anymore, considering the crossbows from the Viper. And Vinchester might be considering a siege workshop relatively soon. He's had one recipe that has given him a success, and now I think he's relying on that recipe to deliver a success again. But it is just not going to be the case at this point in time, unless Vinchester changes tacts, unless he changes his strategy up. These conquistadors are not going to be able to bring the firepower to the game, the firepower that he needs, in fact. So those 3 TCs are up and running for Viper. That village account starting to pull away as well. There is, 15 extra villagers for the Viper on the map at the moment, and also a huge army advantage for the Viper as well. He's got Vinchester on the defensive. I'm surprised Viper's not collecting up his relics yet. There's no monastery out for him. But in fact, as I say that, a monastery just like, ta-da! Monastery appears, and a monk is queued up, and where's it going? To collect up that relic. So he's not neglecting the relics at all. He will do the relics, and here we go again. Vinchester now gonna fight once more with those conks. They have got +1 defense. These crossbows with +1 defense as well now. That +2 defense, I don't know how useful that's actually going to be. Viper at the moment is researching it. It's on 30%. But I can't help but feel that the +2 defense, I don't know if it would actually prevent the crossbows from dying quite so quickly. Now look at these crossbows. They actually have a considerable amount of health as well. It looks like Vinchester has done bloodlines, so it is beefing them up quite a lot. Viper's crossbows will get taken down at the end of the day. This one here, 1 health. Viper not actually attacking it, and Vinchester trying to micro against that there. I don't know if you noticed, he was moving his Conquistador back and forth. And the reason he was doing that is because Viper would have missed his arrows had Viper not had ballistics. But Viper has ballistics in this game at the moment, and that means that he can sink those arrows into those Conquistadors, even if they're trying to do some fancy micro tricks. So looking pretty good for Vinchester at the moment. Sorry, for the Viper at the moment. Vinchester's coming forwards with another castle though. That's going to gain control of both of these gold mines on the front, and that should give Vinchester a little bit of a lifeline, I feel. These Conquistadors here, even able to deal, you know, reasonable damage to the crossbows. But I do feel like the crossbows are still a much better option for the Viper in this game. Gonna get a couple of Conquistadors here. Vinchester reacting a little bit late. Perhaps gonna try and out-micro these guys, but the Monk's coming in. Viper gonna get perhaps 1 conversion in there, and he got the one with the most health as well. Impressive stuff from the Viper, and Vinchester's gonna lose those conks if he's not careful. Just getting out of range there. But I don't know. I think that was a very good trade at all. What was that? 4 Conquistadors for 3 crossbows and a monk, with one of those Conquistadors going changing hands, changing faith to Viperism. And Viper's going to go and run that straight into a castle anyway. So I don't know. It looks to me, though, like Viper definitely came out on top in that fight. That Conquistador escaping with the 12 HP. And, well, Clayman thinks that Viper gone get wrecked. And actually, Viper's starting to produce some knights now, which says to me he is very close to the Imperial Age. That light cavalry upgrade getting cancelled, that must have been some kind of a misclick. But Viper is, yeah, going to be up to the Imperial Age very soon. Starting to populate the border of his town with castles now as well, and also collecting in those relics where he can, relying of course on those relics in that second game. Definitely gave him a little bit of longevity. But ultimately, this game, he has got more gold, he has got an eco lead. And if we have a quick look at the resource counts for both players, Vinchester here with 200 food and 37 gold, Viper with 1,100 food, 800 gold, well, nearly 800, we can call that 800, which is about to be spent on the Imperial Age upgrade. There it is, he's got it, he's got to spend it. Click the button, man. It's right there we go. The Imperial Age upgrade being researched right now, and it looks like Viper will just go for Cavalier in the Imperial Age anyway. The Cavalier here will be able to do considerable damage because Vinchester simply doesn't have enough conks at the moment, I don't feel. But Vinchester getting up to his usual antics here, getting into the back of Viper's eco, causing a lot of villager deaths in the back here, coming in from the side as well, making this TC go idle, but Viper catching Vinchester off guard. Vinchester is underneath the town centre, taking considerable arrow fire from there, and also these crossbows are starting to close the gap. The reason, though, that Viper is switching into knights now is because the knights are going to be much stronger in the Imperial Age. He can't upgrade to Arbalest, so it makes perfect sense for him to switch away from the crossbows now. He's had his run with the crossbows. The crossbows have fulfilled their duty, and they can just be used to, you know, give him a little bit more line of sight around his base and pick off any stray conquistadors that might be running by. But yes, Viper with those knights, going to be Cavalier very soon. His economy is looking great. We'll have a quick look, in fact, at I was on the population one already. 97 villagers for the Viper compared to 84 for Vinchester. Vinchester actually putting up the 4th TC now. But I feel like that is a little bit too late for the 4th TC. It's never too late to add more TCs, I guess, but if he's planning on booming with that 4th TC, I think that's a little late. But looking at his food, he's got nearly the 1,000 he needs for the Imperial Age, but gold is an issue. He still doesn't have much gold income at the south. He is taking a bit more in the center of the map, but Vinchester seems to be a little bit reluctant to go all out into the gold here. Viper, though, holding his hill. Vinchester going to go back, and I'm surprised Vinchester didn't fight that one. He probably would have won it, actually. He's got +2 on these Conquistadors now. He has got Bloodlines as well, but there's the Imperial Age now for the Viper. There's Cavalier. There's Plate Barding Armor +4 defense, and the Viper's going to be very much... looking very good, sorry, with those upgrades on the knights very shortly. He's going to be pushing right out into Vinchester's Conquistadors, though. Those crossbows are doomed to die, getting cut down very quickly, and I cannot stress the strength of the Conquistador. They are just so damn good. If you can mass them up, they are so good. Vinchester has got now 2 castles, so he's got good production, but like I said, he's not going all out into the gold yet. He'll only got, let's have a quick look, 13 gold miners, which is simply not enough. Viper, on the other hand, he's got 36 gold miners, and he is going to be producing a lot of Cavalier very shortly. He's gone up to 6 stables now. He's got the 7th down here, which was researching Cavalier as well. So he's got 7 stables. And what has Vinchester got? 2 castles, but no Conquistador production, because he is just not getting the gold income that he needs at this point in time. But once again, the Conquistadors up to their usual tricks, microing away up this hill, picking off the Cavalier one at a time. And I just can't express just how good these units are. Viper just getting sliced to bits here, or shot to bits, I guess, by the muskets of these Conquistadors, and it's almost futile sending these Cavalier in. The Conquistadors, one Conquistador died, killing, just leaving a trail of knights, or well, Cavalier now, across the map. It's insane, and Viper must be getting real tired of Vinchester's shit here. He's just like, Vinchester, I'm getting real tired of these Conquistadors. Just die already. Send the villagers at them. That'll sort them out. But of course, these are franked villagers, and there is certainly no supremacy for these guys. I don't know what's going on here. Viper's slipping by those conks. And those Conquistadors just cleaning house. Viper once again losing his Cavalier so quickly, so painfully. But it doesn't matter. The Paladin upgrade is on the way. Viper's got 1,000 gold in the bank, and Paladin is at 50%. And I can't help but feel that if the Viper is to change his kind of strategy here, instead of trying to fight these Conquistadors and being kited away, instead of doing that, why not just go aggressive into Vinchester's eco? Vinchester is wide open at the front. Why not just run in here, get the Paladins into the back of his eco, and force Vinchester back to his base with the conks? Force Vinchester to get all defensive, and then the Conquistadors will have to come to him, where he can then fight them. Of course, if he's chasing the Conquistadors down, the Conquistadors are just going to win. But there is the Frankish Paladin, 192 HP, 3 + 4 Pierce Armor, and finally these guys are going to be able to withstand a little bit more Conquistador damage. These guys not elite yet because, of course, Vinchester is only 50% of the way up to the Imperial Age. But Vinchester preparing now with some serious barracks. Pikemen being queued out like crazy. And he is going to be going for those melee upgrades. Chain mail armor even on the way. Chain barding armor has already been done. But yes, Vinchester looking like he is ready to be very defensive against these Paladins now. The Frank Paladin looking too good, too yellow on the center of the map, and Viper taking a lot of stone here as well. But look at this, the Conquistadors coming in for another go. Viper just losing a couple of villagers here, one villager in fact, and starting now to build a lot more castles in defensive positions. This castle here on the hill, obviously going to catch these Conquistadors out, catch them off guard. 3 getting brought down pretty quickly, and Viper's just going to have to keep building these in defense by the looks of it. Once again, collecting those relics. The 4th relic on the way in, and the 5th relic is... where is the 5th relic actually? That's a good point. I'm not seeing it. Oh, the 5th relic is here. If Viper snags that one, I'll be pretty impressed. Of course, he knows it's there. He's spin it over there already. And look at that map visibility, right? Just look at that map visibility. That must be about 97% map visibility. We'll check that at the end. But Viper has literally scouted everything. God, I'm so envious of his scouting. It's just insane. Anyway, yeah, Viper with the trebs now. Of course, he's got that advantage with the trebuchets, focusing, of course, on taking these castles down. No castles means no conquistadors. Meanwhile, Vinchester doing conscription and some trebs of his own, actually neglecting the elite conquistador upgrade. And that is simply because he can't afford it at the moment. And I don't think he will be able to afford it so far. But hey, Vinchester's coming forwards. A pretty potent army here. These Halberdier, Viper will not want to engage that. And the Conquistadors behind it. So those Trebs potentially going to go down here. And we're still waiting for Vinchester to get those upgrades. Viper's just going to engage this head on. I know the Frank Paladin is strong, but this could be very, very costly for the Viper. Actually, you know what? I take that back. There are just too many Paladins there. Viper able to absolutely clean up against those Halbs. They don't have any attack advantages yet. Well, they have attack advantages. They don't have the attack upgrades. So those Halberdier are getting cut down. And Viper actually engaging that one, surprisingly. But hey, the no elite conquistador here. No attack upgrades on these Halbs. And they are going to actually go down in the end. Viper with sheer numbers. And the hand cannons now coming into the fight as well. The hand cannons from the Viper. The finishing touch, I feel, to what is going to make this game very difficult for Vinchester to get back into now. The hand cannon's going to deal with those Halbs so perfectly, and of course those Paladins, as tanky as they are, need a little bit of support from time to time, but he can finally close that gap to the Conquistadors now. He can finally close that gap, he can finally deal the damage, and hey, Viper is sending these guys out. Where is he sending them though? That's the question. He's going to surround this castle? No, he's going to kill the villagers repairing it. Vinchester is out of stone. The villagers are unable to repair anymore, and that Treb will eventually get that castle down. Viper, no siege workshops at the moment though, guys. Not a single siege workshop from him. So we're not going to see any rams out. We're not going to see any scorpions or anything like that. Those scorpions would be a hell of a lot of fun to see in this game. But there you go, that TC on the right going down, and Vinchester now getting overran, it seems. The Paladins here cleaning up, the hand cannons dealing with the steady flow of Halberdier that get cut down as soon as they leave the barracks. And Vinchester, I feel, is just overwhelmed. The Viper at 200 population, Vinchester on 117. And now the Viper has some real momentum, and Vinchester resigns. Unfortunately, not able to pull it off again. Don't think you can use the same tricks twice, because it simply doesn't work. Well played by the Viper there. Vinchester, unfortunately, not able to get a good foothold in that game. And I've got to say, he still put up a good fight. He really did manage to get back a little bit of map control there. He continued to do some raiding at the back of the Viper's base, which did work out very well as well. And Vinchester kind of getting himself back into it, but ultimately it wasn't enough. Viper changing his strategy somewhat there. You know, going to crossbows instead of knights in the early Castle Age, very good decision. And then later on, adding the knights when he was on the way up to the Imperial Age. So he had some paladins for the Imperial Age. And then backing it up with hand cannons. That was just really the nail in the coffin for Vinchester there. So very well played by him. Congratulations. And he's going to go 3-1 in this series, which we will assume is a best of 5. Because that means that was the last game, sorry. And that means that the Viper will take it 3-1 to him. And we'll take a look at these achievements now as well for good measure. Viper here then, obviously with the most score. Military-wise, 188 to 132 for the Viper there. Largest army was fairly similar. But you have to bear in mind that that 64 largest army was hand cannons and paladins. Whereas Vinchester's army was literally just halberdier and some conks. Economy stats, look at the gold. Wow. Extra 10k gold for the Viper there. Pretty close on everything else. There was just 22 stone in it, actually, which is pretty impressive, and the wood was pretty close as well, but the gold was the real killer there, and that's because that extra 1,200 relic gold, of course, and simply like I said earlier in that game, Vinchester was not on the gold as much as he could have been. He was kind of low on the gold for quite a lot of that game, actually, and he could have really benefited from that. Map explored, 96% there as well for the Viper. Not messing around, trying to get as close to 100 as he can, and he gets all the stars. Look at the Imperial Age time difference as well, actually. That's quite a significant time difference